This is Arkies in the Beltway, your look at national politics and the Arkansans influencing the discussions. I'm Alex Thomas, Washington correspondent for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, reporting from the nation's capital. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Arkies in the Beltway for the week of January 19th, 2025. A committee shakeup in the House of Representatives involving one member of the Arkansas congressional delegation. Representative Rick Crawford of Jonesboro, the new chair of the House Intelligence Committee. House Speaker Mike Johnson picked Crawford following his decision to remove Ohio Republican Mike Turner from this top position.
This is a thing that I think people don't understand. I mean, this is a select committee. You serve at the pleasure of the speaker. The speaker at any point in time can walk in and say, I want to add this person to the committee, or I want to take this person off, or I want to make a change.
The committee and its Senate counterpart oversee the United States intelligence efforts, often conducting business in closed-door sessions, given the sensitivity of classified information. Crawford starts his chairmanship with 8 years of experience on the committee, and more recently, time spent leading its CIA subcommittee.
When I got on the committee in 2017, I wasn't thinking about, I'm going to chair this committee someday. I was thinking about, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to learn how to be a good, effective member on this committee. And as that process was taking place, and I got more senior and got more experience, the circumstances were such that the opportunity presented itself.
Crawford sought the gavel on the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee in the months leading up to the current Congress. He ended his bid in December after Missouri Republican Sam Graves received a waiver to run for another term. Another Arkansan, Senator Tom Cotton of Little Rock, also has a major role concerning intelligence, leading the Senate Intelligence Committee. The Democrat-Gazette asked Cotton about his colleague.
He's been a very dutiful, diligent, hardworking member of a committee that usually meets in private and doesn't get a lot of accolades, but does vital work for our nation's security. So as the new chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, I'm excited to have such a good friend and colleague chairing the House Committee.
Representative French Hill of Little Rock, also a member of the House Intelligence Committee. With Johnson's decision, 5 members of the Arkansas congressional delegation are committee chairs. The only outlier, Representative Steve Womack of Rogers, who is serving in a senior role on the House Appropriations Committee. A major moment in American politics on Monday, Donald Trump will take the oath of office to become the 47th President of the United States. Trump's inauguration ceremony has been moved from the steps of the U.S. Capitol to the Capitol Rotunda, Trump citing forecasted cold temperatures and wind chills as reasons behind the move. The U.S. Senate taking steps to consider the president-elect's choices for his administration. Several Senate committees held hearings last week with Trump's cabinet picks. One of the more heated settings, the Senate Armed Services Committee's consideration of Pete Hegseth as the next defense secretary. Hegseth, an Army National Guard veteran, most recently served as a host on Fox News. The nomination has faced scrutiny since Trump made the pick in November. Hegseth has been unable to quell concerns surrounding accusations of sexual assault and excessive drinking. He dismissed the claims when appearing before committee members last Tuesday.
What became very evident to us from the beginning, there was a coordinated smear campaign orchestrated in the media against us. That was clear from moment one. And what we knew is that it wasn't about me. Most of it was about President Donald Trump, who's had to endure the very same thing for much longer amounts of time. And he endured it incredibly strong ways.
Multiple senators, both Republicans and Democrats, brought attention to Hegseth's past comments on women serving in military combat roles. In a November 7th episode of One Podcast, Hegseth said women should not be serving in these positions. According to the Defense Department, around 225,000 women are part of the U.S. military's active duty force. Women have been allowed to serve in direct ground combat roles since January 2013. Hegseth told senators he was not addressing the capabilities of men and women with his comments, but rather standards for military service.
I have never disparaged women serving in the military. I respect every single female service member that has put on the uniform, past and present.
Senator Cotton is a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, an Army veteran who served tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. Cotton says military branches need to ensure high and gender-neutral standards given the demands of military service.
Women have been serving in combat for a long time. Women have even been serving in combat units like infantry battalions for a long time in roles like medics or mechanics or what have you. So what we're talking about here specifically is women in ground combat roles in jobs like infantrymen or artillerymen or special forces.
In an exchange with Cotton, Hedgeseth said Trump has not indicated any plans to rescind the current policy allowing women to serve in combat positions.
However, I would point out, ensuring that standards are equal and high is of importance to him and great importance to me. Because in those ground combat roles, what is true is that the weight of the ruck on your back doesn't change. The weight of the 155 round that you have to carry doesn't change. The weight of the 240 Bravo machine gun you might have to carry doesn't change.
New York Democrat Kirsten Gillibrand rejected Hedgeseth's arguments on his comments, describing his past remarks as brutal and mean.
Having been here for 15 years, listening to testimony about men and women in combat and the type of operations that were successful in Afghanistan and in Iraq, women were essential for many of those units. When Ranger units went in to find where the terrorists hiding in Afghanistan or in Iraq, if they had a woman in the unit, they could go in, talk to the women in a village, say, where are the terrorists hiding? Where are the weapons hiding? And get crucial information to make sure that we can win that battle.
Rhode Island Senator Jack Reed is the top Democrat on the Senate Armed Services Committee. He told Hedgeseth that the presumptive nominee does not have the character or competence to lead the Pentagon.
Indeed, the totality of your own writings and alleged conduct would disqualify any service member from holding any leadership position in the military, much less being confirmed as the Secretary of Defense.
The Senate only requires a majority of present senators to confirm presidential nominations. Senate Republicans currently control the chamber with 52 members. Ohio Lieutenant Governor John Husted will soon fill Vice President-elect J.D. Vance's vacant seat. Senator Cotton presided over the Senate Intelligence Committee for the first time as its chair. Cotton and other senators holding an open-door hearing last Wednesday with John Ratcliffe, Trump's choice, to lead the CIA. Ratcliffe served in the House for 5 years before becoming the Director of National Intelligence in the final year of Trump's first presidency. Cotton says the United States intelligence agencies have failed to detect impending security threats, noting the New Year's Day attack in New Orleans as one example.
While this goes for the entire intelligence community, the problem is especially acute at the CIA, which remains, after all, the central intelligence agency. The CIA needs to get back to its roots, but must overcome several challenges to do so.
In the hearing, Ratcliffe acknowledged the challenges with collecting information on threats, yet he argued he believes the CIA should better prioritize the execution of gathering related information.
Good decisions are hostage to good information and good intelligence. And the better we do at collecting human intelligence, the better decisions you all can make, the better analytic judgments analysts can make.
Cotton anticipates the committee will vote on the nomination during a Monday afternoon meeting following Trump's inauguration. Senator John Boozman of Rogers also questioning possible members of the incoming administration. Boozman asked EPA Administrator nominee Lee Zeldin last Thursday about the relationship between that agency and the Department of Agriculture.
As issues affecting agriculture arise, I found farmers and ranchers are best served when the EPA and the Department of Agriculture are working together.
The question during a hearing last Thursday with the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee. Zeldin, a former New York congressman, told Boozman that he agreed with the characterization of the two agencies' relationship.
That should be the relationship between all agencies, including the interaction between the EPA and the USDA, in a way that you are able to go back to all of your constituents and to be able to talk about that progress that has been achieved as a result of these agencies working together.
Boozman now chairs the Senate Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry Committee. The Rogers senator served as the committee's top Republican for the last 4 years. He succeeds now retired Michigan Democrat Debbie Stabenow. We know when Boozman and the Senate Agriculture Committee will question the Agriculture Secretary nominee. Brooke Rollins will appear before senators on Thursday. The House Rules Committee preparing to consider a bill from Representative Bruce Westerman. The Hot Springs Congressman and California Democrat Scott Peters reintroducing the Fix Our Forest Act, which calls for simplifying environmental reviews for forest management projects and additional maintenance for removing certain trees. The House approved the measure last August, but the Senate never considered the bill. Westerman and Peters cite the fires surrounding Los Angeles as a reason to reconsider the measure. The House Rules Committee has scheduled a Tuesday hearing to take up this legislation. A joint effort between the Bill Clinton Presidential Center and others announcing its newest class of scholars. The Presidential Leadership Scholars Program unites leaders from various fields to study recent presidential administrations and develop their leadership skills. Representative Hill's Chief of Staff, Brooke Bennett, is one of this year's 57 scholars. She says she intends to use the lessons from this program to improve the congressman's office and the work representing Central Arkansas.
I'm so interested to learn about, and in a very deep way, to learn about different types of businesses, different types of management structures, different types of personnel management, and all of the different characteristics that make these individuals good leaders. 2
Arkansans are also part of this year's program, Tracy Dufault of Little Flock and Bo McClaslin of DeQueen. And that'll do it for this edition of Arkies in the Beltway for the week of January 19th, 2025. You can stay up to date with all news involving Arkansas at arkansasonline.com. You can get in touch with me on social media. My handle across most platforms is @AlexHouseThomas, and you can also find me on Blue Sky. Special thanks as always to the team down in Little Rock. I'm Alex Thomas, and this has been Arkies in the Beltway. Thanks for listening.